What we witnessed was the observance of traditional Memorial Day. Back in 1868, General James Logan, commander of the Grand Army Republic, issued General Order Number 11 that said on May 30th, you are to go out and decorate the graves of our fallen comrades. In the 1960s, Memorial Day was moved to a Monday, the last Monday of the month. However, because Memorial Day was established as a direct result of the Civil War, and we are a Civil War monument, we believe that it's important that we observe traditional Memorial Day on May 30th, and that's what we have observed today. I feel that it's important because we need to understand what came before us. And if we do not learn from our history, we're going to make the same mistakes. More importantly, when we look at what the American Civil War, it was the first war that really brought the battle to the home front. It tore brother from brother, father from son, and it literally tore the nation asunder. And for us to have come through that horrible war and to be able to reunite the country was a miracle, and that's what we celebrate. And more importantly, the Civil War really is a turning point, because prior to the Civil War, people didn't view themselves as Americans. They viewed themselves as Virginians, Ohioans, Kentuckians. But after the Civil War, they viewed themselves as Americans. So it was through the crucible of the American Civil War that we really did develop the identity of America, and that we were all Americans. The original Memorial Day was intended to honor the memory of those who gave the supreme sacrifice. And it's because of those people who gave the supreme sacrifice, not only in the American Civil War, but in all the wars that we have fought, that allow us to enjoy the freedoms that we have today. And because of that, we have a personal mission as the monument to fulfill that duty. Some of the organizations represented are a hereditary organization. The keynote speaker had several members who fought in the American Civil War, and he has presided over both the Sons of Union Veterans and the Military Order of the Loyal Legion as their national commander-in-chief. Myself, I'm fortunate. I have a member of my family who served in the 2nd Ohio Light Artillery and was killed at Stones River in 1863. So for me, it's a very personal thing. And I think that that's what we need to do. We need to remember that when war comes, it is a personal matter. That when the men and women go off to defend our freedoms, we do have a responsibility to support the families, because without the family support, those men and women would not be able to do what they do to protect our freedoms. It's personal to me having family, but more importantly, we're hoping that maybe it will inspire somebody to ask a question, to pause, even if it's for 30 seconds, to think about the message we're giving. And more importantly, we are all about educating people, not only about the past, but how we're relevant to the past. It's one thing to study history from the 20th century from the armchair. It's another thing to go out into the field and to see what these gentlemen had to live with and to do everything. One of the major things is medical care. As a result of the Civil War, we see the beginning of triage, because prior to that, medical care really wasn't organized. This was the first one where we see the major effort on the role of women. Inside the monument, we have a panel full of women. These are the women of the Northern Ohio Sanitary Commission. They raised within 4 years nearly $1 million worth of medical supplies that came out of Cuyahoga County. So by us stepping back, we're able to see the service of not only the men, the women, the children, the politicians, the civilians, in order to preserve the Union. And if you don't step into that frame of mind, I don't think you get the whole picture of how enormous the Civil War was to the history of the nation.